As a child, Sarah always had an imaginary friend. She called him Mr. Nobody and would often talk to him for hours on end. Her parents thought it was cute, a sign of an active imagination. But as Sarah grew older, Mr. Nobody began to take on a more sinister presence. He would whisper things to her at night, things that made her skin crawl. He would tell her secrets about her family that no one else could know. He would make her do things she didn't want to do, things that she knew were wrong. As Sarah entered her teenage years, Mr. Nobody became more aggressive. He would appear to her in her dreams, his face twisted in a grotesque grin. He would chase her through dark, winding corridors, his footsteps echoing in the darkness. One night, Sarah woke up to find Mr. Nobody sitting at the foot of her bed. His eyes glowed with a malevolent light as he whispered to her, his breath hot on her face. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. She tried to move, but her limbs were frozen in place. Mr. Nobody laughed and leaned in closer. "You belong to me now," he whispered. "You always have, and you always will." From that moment on, Sarah's life became a living nightmare. Mr. Nobody followed her wherever she went, his presence a constant reminder of her own helplessness. He would whisper things to her in public places, making her seem crazy to anyone who saw her talking to thin air. Sarah's parents grew concerned when she stopped leaving the house altogether. They would hear her screaming in the night, her voice choked with fear. They took her to doctors and therapists, but no one could explain what was wrong with her. One day, Sarah's parents came home to find their daughter lying on the floor, her eyes glassy and unseeing. There was no sign of foul play, no explanation for why she had suddenly died. But in the darkness of her room, Mr. Nobody still lurked. His laughter echoed through the halls as he claimed his latest victim, ready to move on to the next unsuspecting soul.